Hello, friends. This session is designed especially to counter some of the misperceptions which are there regarding history as the optional subject. This session is especially designed to help the candidates in simplifying their preparation toward this subject. The first big misconcept about the subject is that it's very factual. Now, the question is, can dictionary be considered literature? If dictionary cannot be considered literature, certainly mere facts are not history. Rather, the intelligent interpretation of those facts to understand the elements of change and continuity, that is what is history. So, the candidates who try to approach this subject through facts, it is very difficult for them to deal with the exam. History is always very easy when you try to approach the subject through concepts. To make my point clear, I'll take a question from UPSC History Optional asked in 2022. The question says that examine the relationship among the economic growth, urbanization, and state formation from 7th century BC to 3rd century BC. Basically, this was the time when there was rise of the big Mahajanapadas and the powerful states. Now, let's try to approach this question very conceptually. And here I'm quoting R.S. Sharma. The book is very simple but very conceptual it is. R.S. Sharma says that the Aryans they started migrating towards India from the northwest part of India, and gradually they kept on migrating more and more toward the eastern parts. But with the migration towards east, the Aryans found very good soil was there. Then rain was also very good. At the same time, there was very good use of iron. And when this was there, certainly agriculture became surplus because paddy transplantation is started. Now, if you talk about this surplus agriculture that was there, surplus is always invested in trade. So trade became very good. At the same time, when there was very good trade, and at the same time, when there was surplus production in rural areas, it was capable of sustaining urbanization. And the second urbanization started in India in Ganga Valley. The first urbanization was there in times of IVC. Now, when the trade was so good and agriculture was so good, state could get double taxation from both agriculture and trade. So taxation became very good. With such a good tax, the states could maintain powerful standing armies, and that gave rise to the powerful states like that of Magadha in this time frame of 7th century BC to 3rd century BC. And that is what the question that is being asked by UPSC in this exam. Again, a misperception about history optional is that the syllabus is very vast. Look, the syllabus of UPSC history optional looks big because it is very well structured by UPSC and every point of the syllabus is very explicitly mentioned. Now, actually, this makes it very easy for the candidate to follow the entire syllabus. Not only this, anyway, nearly 70% of the syllabus you have to study for your GS part. And when you add 30% more of analysis and debate, you reach the syllabus of history optional. To make my point clear, I'll take two questions of UPSC, one from optional, one from GS. The first question is from optional 2022 that says that discuss the policies and the programs of early nationalists or the moderates. To what extent they were able to fulfill the aspirations of the people. Now, that was the question that was asked by UPSC in optional 2022. A very similar question was asked by UPSC in GS 2021. To what extent did the role of moderates prepare a base for wider freedom movement? Again, we have to figure out to what extent they were successful in fulfilling the aspirations of the people in leading the national movement. For both the questions, the approach is very simple. First of all, if you talk about the policies and programs of the moderates, they believed in constitutional way of struggle of prayers and petitions and petitions. And unlike the extremists, they did not go for the extra constitutional way of struggle of Swadeshi and boycott. What they demanded basically, they demanded good governance of their time. So, what basically they demanded? Indianization of civil services, Indianization of legislature, promotion of modern education, protection of Indian trade and industries. Now, to what extent they were successful, if we try to analyze, the positive evaluation is that the moderates were the first to expose scientifically drain of wealth from India, and basically they gave the basis of rise of economic nationalism. Now, economic nationalism became the backbone of national movement. Even Swadeshi movement was economic nationalism, and even the recent initiative of Government of India of Atmanirbhar Bharat is also economic nationalism. Then, by politically training the people for the important issues, basically the moderates they paved the way for the rise of a bigger national movement in the next phase, that would be the extremist phase. But at the same time, there were limitations of their politics. For example, if you talk about the moderate politics, they believed, or at least they showed, their faith in benevolence of the British rule or the goodness of the British rule. They believed that the British, they were good rulers. And basically, the problems were there because they were not well aware about the actual problems here in India. Certainly, this concept of British benevolence would not be acceptable to most of the people. Then, they had no faith in mass movement, and certainly without the mass movement, they failed to pressurize the British to get anything that was very substantial, a political reform. Certainly, the moderate politics had both its strengths as well as limitations. And this is what the evaluation we have to write in both the questions that we discussed earlier. The third big misconcept is that the map questions are very difficult to deal with. Let me tell you one thing, that the map questions are the easiest to deal with, and certainly they are the most scoring ones. Now, the recent pattern of UPSC says that you do not have to plot the sites on the map. Rather, the plotting of the sites would already be there by UPSC. You just have to describe about those sites. Just to make this point clear, I'll take a question of UPSC History Optional from 2022 that talks about one Harappan UNESCO site, and we have to match this with the seventh site in the map that was given by the History Optional paper. Now, it is a common information that recently Dholavira in Gujarat was given the UNESCO World Heritage Site. Dholavira in Gujarat is the famous IVC site that is known for its unique water harvesting system. And it is one of the reasons why it was recently given the UNESCO World Heritage Site status. Now, it is that simple, it is that relevant, and that is why UPSC asked this question about Dholavira. अब जाते जाते मन की बात में see one extra bonus question that is there that was asked by UPSC in prelims 2021. It says that which of the following ancient towns is well known for the elaborated system of water harvesting and management by building a series of dams and channelizing the water into connected reservoirs. Now, the answer is very simple. The IVC site, Dholavira in Gujarat, is basically the place where we have found such type of system. And this is one of the reasons why it has been given the UNESCO site status. Now, the overlap between optional history and GS history is so much that it makes it very attractive to go for history optional as a subject. Now, this session was especially designed to counter some of the misperceptions which are there in the candidates about this subject. मतलब हिस्ट्री इतनी भी मुश्किल नहीं है. Now, how to approach this history optional subject, how to structure it, what are the sources that we have to refer. Now, so many other things that we are going to discuss very soon in the next video. Thank you.